Hi guys, so from time to time, Good Morning Britain engage in real reporting, but unfortunately today wasn't one of those. Now Susanna Reid, the host here, tried to connect two separate issues with the goal obviously of making people angry, which is pretty pathetic. Have a listen to this.
Risks. Yeah, we know also that the amount being spent on asylum hotels has absolutely rocketed. And people this morning identifying a link, because they say this is all about, governing is all about priorities. There's all of this money being spent on asylum seekers, and of course their claims need to be processed. And we need to make sure that if they are legitimate asylum seekers, then of course they have a right to stay currently under the existing legislation. But we also have this absolutely shocking report on child poverty. And the Children's Commissioner this morning saying, please lift the cap on benefits for families currently limited to children. And you could lift so many people, 500,000 children people out of poverty if you did that.
What is she trying to achieve here? Is she trying to connect the cost of asylum hotels or accommodation, because they're no longer hotels, but asylum accommodation to child poverty? So I can't make the link. She seems to be making that link, and of course using the sort of weasel words of people are making the connection. What people? Who are these people? You as a journalist have a job of correcting the record, saying to these people, if they actually exist, no, you're wrong. There is no connection between the cost of asylum hotels and or accommodation and child poverty. They're completely separate. What she's trying to do, of course, is tap into people's anger. People are angry about asylum seekers. They're angry about these hotels. Now, who is responsible for this cost? The Conservatives. They decided not to process claims, so they left people in hotels or ex-hotels. I think it's important to keep clarifying this point. They're not hotels, they're ex-hotels. Now, Farage and others will call them hotels and five-star hotels, which is absolute rubbish. They're basic accommodation. But asylum seekers are in them because the Tories didn't invest the resources necessary to process the claims. Now, when it comes to child poverty, it's a separate issue, and the government should be ending child poverty, not dealing with it. It shouldn't exist. It doesn't cost that much to lift all these children out of poverty. So there's no, from a moral point of view, it shouldn't exist. And also from an economic point of view, it doesn't cost that much to lift them out of poverty. And if you do lift them out of poverty, obviously you're going to see the benefits of that economically later on. Fewer children ending up in getting involved in crime, ending up in prison, ending up with mental health issues, physical health issues, all of the connections there are to poverty. Lift people out of poverty, you improve their lives, you improve the economy, you do everything benefits. Society benefits, the economy benefits, the people themselves benefit. Yeah, there is a cost, but it should be seen as an investment. I keep saying, how is it when it comes to businesses, it's described as an investment. When it comes to people, it's seen as a cost. A government shouldn't approach, politicians shouldn't approach society like that. But it's bad journalism connecting child poverty to asylum seekers, because you know that people are angry about asylum seekers and the cost. Well, anyone who's angry about the cost of these hotels should be angry with the Conservative Party, because they're the ones who created this problem. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.